Hi, I'm Bob Johnson from Bob Johnson's Computer Stuff. If you're looking for a Toughbook rugged laptop community for tips, tricks, and more information, don't forget to watch our videos. And when you do, hit that like button as well as the subscribe button and that bell button so we can notify you on any newer upcoming videos. Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Rugged Rundown. And I have a surprise tablet for you guys today. This company called Imdor out of China was sending me emails back and forth over the past, I don't know, several months and trying to get me interested in their ruggedized line of tablets and laptops. I don't typically deal with unknowns. However, the guy went ahead and sent us this cool little tablet here as a demo for us to take a look at and do a review on. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to give you a review on this. This is the Imdor EMQ16. That's the model number, EMQ16. So I've been able to play with this for a little bit and hold it. And I got to tell you, I've got the spec sheet right here that I'm going to kind of reference as we move forward. But it is a heavy tablet. And if you remember when we were doing comparisons, one of the things is the weight of the tablet and carrying it around. They do have some options that you can get with this tablet, like the back X strap that you can attach here, that hold it in there. They also come standard with a little strap that hooks to these two hooks right here that you could be able to carry it over your shoulder or whatnot. So that's nothing different than any of the other tablets might have. So you can buy this tablet in a couple of different configurations as far as the screen's concerned. You can get the 800 by 1280 or the 1920 by 1200. However, at the 1920 by 1200, they only have a 400 nit daylight readable screen, which is not a very good daylight readable screen, considering that a lot of its competition has that 1000 nit to 1200 nit daylight readable screen. So that is just one difference between the competition and this particular tablet. But I want to walk you through it real quick so you can see what this particular model has. They sent this unit. It has the fingerprint reader right here on the back, which is a pretty convenient place to have it. It also has the ability to put a new hard drive in there under this door right here. Now, a couple of things that I will make a note of is the little port covers. I'm not a big fan of this design. It is connected to the tablet with a little rubber piece that's kind of stretchy. I feel like they're going to break. The other, like this one here has, under this port cover, for example, is the audio jack and the HDMI connector right there, so you can hook to an external monitor. And then over here you have the USB ports. You have the USB-C and just a standard USB right there. And then then here's your little power port. And again, I can see this breaking off after multiple times of use. This is the power port for this. On the bottom you have your docking station connector. And then on this side we have the 9-pin serial port that comes standard with this tablet, which, believe it or not, is a pretty handy port to have, as you all know. And then, of course, your Ethernet jack goes right there. Now, there's some buttons on the side here as well. Like we have a power button, we have a sound up and down button, so you can increase sound. There's also a F button right here, which I imagine is for a function. You can also connect an external USB keyboard to this device as well if you need to get in there. There's a front-facing camera right here, and these cameras, the front face is a 2 megapixel, whereas the rear is a 5 megapixel. So as far as cameras are concerned, the camera in the front is pretty standard across the board on its competition. However, the back camera is lagging behind, whereas a lot of its competition has 8 megapixel on their camera in the back. As far as weight is concerned, it's a really heavy tablet, which I think I've mentioned. But I got to tell you, whenever you're feeling, when you have it in your hands and you're playing around with it, I don't know, it just does not feel like it's going to be fully rugged like some of its competition. They do claim that it has a IP65 rating, which if you don't know what that means, check out my blog on the IP ratings and how they're determined and what they actually mean. It's also military spec 810G, so you're able to drop this thing from a certain distance and it's continually going to work. I feel like if I dropped it, these plastic pieces here would crack if it hit just right. There are some rubber bumpers here. They're not removable. They're actually built in. It feels like they're built into the chassis. The one thing I will give this tablet above the competition is the back is actually metal. This whole thing here is a metal back, which I give them that's a pro feature on a tablet. The screen is a 10-inch screen. Like I said, it's not that great of a daylight readable screen. The stylus that is included with this unit, I wasn't impressed with. It's just a rubber nipple type pen that I didn't even see worth showing you guys. But that is the MQ16 from Emdor. They're out of China. Now, price point. So to buy these on a price point, you're probably looking at a retail price of $750. Now you got to admit, that's going to be a lower price point. That's retail, manufacturer suggested price. It is cheaper than most of its competition, but is it worth the money? Well, they're an unknown. They have no reputation here in the United States. So I would say buy at your own risk. Otherwise, it does run Windows 10. Oh, one other thing that I noticed here, and going through the literature and their customizing sheet, this thing only came with 4 gigs of RAM, which running Windows 10, as you well know and I know, that's a very minimal amount of memory. You need at least 8 gig, and best scenario, 16 gig. But it has your SSD drive in there. This comes with a 128 gig SSD. Overall, check out my future videos. Next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tablet and I'm going to compare it to your Geetac F110 so you can see what I mean by the differences. So I'll see you guys next week.